This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with a daily wrestling news update. It came out this weekend that officially Young Rock has been canceled. Also, it came out that the XFL lost $60 billion. No surprise that the XFL lost. I know maybe I heard about it more in the past because it was associated more with wrestling in the past, but like beyond the first week, I never heard anything about it. But again, I'm kind of in the wrestling bubble, but it seemed to be very lackluster this year as far as the XFL goes. Some people are saying Rock's a failure because Black Adams was quote unquote a flop, but I actually looked it up and Black Adam grossed, and this is not including rentals and stuff. I mean, just at the box office, 393 million, almost 400 million. The budget was between 190 and 260 million. So that's a pretty, I wouldn't call that a flop. Grossing almost 400 million. Anyone can spin it their own way to say it's a flop, but wouldn't call that a flop. Apparently, the first day of ticket sales for AEW Collision in Greenville, South Carolina, one of the big wrestling cities, had just over 1,000 pre-sold. Other than in Chicago, where they have about 7,000 pre-sold at the United Center that holds 20,000, and Newark, where they have just over 3,000 pre-sold. New York City market. The Canadian ones aren't doing that great, with Hamilton under 1,000, Toronto and Regina just over 1,000. So not a lot of interest in Collision, which is just going to pretty much air on streaming services in Canada and in the UK, from my understanding. But at least they're getting the money from it. That's what's important. By the way, apparently professional wrestlers do not need work visas to wrestle in Canada, which I've known that for a while. As far as the U.S. goes, it really depends who your border agent is. But one of the reasons, which I took slack for doing collaboration deals when I wrestled in the U.S., was because it's actually illegal to wrestle without a work visa in the U.S. unless someone pays for your work visa. If it's a barter deal for footage, you're not doing a crime. I had that checked out. Apparently, speaking of crimes, Conor McGregor apparently punched a Miami Heat mascot twice and sent him to the hospital. So obviously Conor McGregor still getting into trouble. No doubt he's going to probably have to, like, what was the last time where he ended up having to pay the guy? There was an old Irishman in a bar that he punched a bunch of times because it had something to do with a whiskey cheers or something. So he's still getting into mischief. Anyways, guys, coming up in a little over a month, Great North Wrestling invades Smith Falls. If you live in that area, get your tickets now.
This is Jack Kilby, Executive Vice President of Great North Wrestling, here to tell fans about the huge event we have planned for July the 15th in Smith Falls, Ontario at the Memorial Center. Great North Wrestling's Smith Falls Showdown. This card will feature two massive main events. In the first, the diabolical, bloodthirsty Blood Hunter will continue his path of destruction against the challenge of ECW original and WWE alumni Nunzio. In the second co-main event, WWE legend Carlito will face young upstart superstar Magnum McLaren of the Big Money Players. In ladies action, just signed Viperous, who has wrestled for AEW. Also featured will be Persephone Vice against Jessica Black in a rematch from their May 6 encounter in Ottawa. Smith Falls' own Hardcore Steve will face Bruiser in a tables match. And Jeremy Prophet will defend his Canadian title in Smith Falls. All this and much more to be announced. Doors will open at 6 p.m. for a meet and greet with bell time at 7. Fans, you're not going to want to miss this one. Tickets are available at ticketweb.ca and at the Smith Falls Memorial Center box office.